Kevin Smith fans have been waiting a very long time, to hang out again at the Quick Stop with the crew of Clerks. The wait is over. Jay, Silent Bob, Dante, and Randall are back.
Wish I had a life worth saving.
What are you talking about?
Sit around and watch the same movies over and over.
I always thought you could have made a cool movie.
You're right. I'm living on borrowed time. No more watching movies.
I'm gonna make a movie!
What's the movie going to be about? It's about
All right, joining us to talk all about Clerks 3 is Renaissance man, filmmaker, and much more. Good morning, Kevin Smith. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having. Before we talk about any of this Clerks nonsense, this is Channel 11, correct? PIX?
This is PIX.
Let me tell you something. This is PIX single-handedly raised me. I had two wonderful parents, don't get me wrong, but in the 70s, to raise a child, you sat them in front of a television and waited for them to develop into a human being. So all throughout my life, we didn't have like cable or streaming or multiple choices. You had like your three main networks, and then you had a couple independents. PIX was my station because they had the cartoons, they had the kids shows. At Christmas time, they had the Yule log, and I like to stare at things that burn. They had this game when I was a kid called TV Pix, a video game where people could play like from home. Kids would call and be like, Pix, 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 and it would shoot.
Well, Kevin, Chris Cimino was the guy in the closet that hit the button every time you said Pix. He was the guy that was hitting it in that Space Invader game.
No, I was.
Well, I just want to say, after all this time, then 40 years later, your accuracy was crap, my friend.
I know, it was awful. By the way,
I watched every day. I watched TV Pix, and I watched the delay on that fire button. I said, "This is a scam."
Something wrong.
Myself.
No, I was not the guy. I was the guy watching along with you, actually. When I first got a job offer here, and I came home, and I said, "Guess where I'm working? Pix, 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 Pix." Right? That's what we grew up on.
Legendary. I'm out here in Los Angeles, and when I heard PIX, when they told me like last week that like you can talk to Channel 11 in New York, I was like, I was raised by Channel 11.
It's a homecoming.
It's gonna be like talking to Alfred. You know.
Your career has peaked.
I mean, our time here is done. Thank you so much for joining us.
Ago,
right, yes, exactly.
My career peaked in 94.
Well,
it's crazy that I'm still around.
And speaking of 94, so that was Clerks, 94, Clerks 2, 2006. I always wonder, did you ever expect that the longevity would exist with these iconic characters?
No, when we made Clerks, you know, I'd never assumed it would be a franchise, a trilogy, or anything like that. I just wanted to make a movie about my life at that point, and I worked at that convenience store. And so, you know, I'd listened to an interview on the Howard Stern show with Robert Rodriguez, who had just done El Mariachi, and he said, you know, look, a lot of first-time filmmakers write above their means. He was going, when I did El Mariachi, I had access to a school bus, to a guitar case, and to a tortoise, and I wrote them all into the movie. And he was like, to keep it cheap, you should just write with what you have around you. And I was literally standing in Quick Stop when I was listening to that. I was like, yes. No, I've never seen a convenience store movie. Nobody's ever shot a movie in a convenience store. I've seen scenes in a convenience store, but never a whole movie. And that's where the wheels really started to turn, man. So that was back when I worked at Quick Stop, and I hated that job. I am the guy that wrote for the Randall character. This job would be great if it wasn't for the customers. But like, that's the mindset of somebody that works for somebody else. Because of Clerks, I never had to work for anybody ever again. I worked for the audience. When you work for the audience, you don't work a day in your life. So by the time the movie got bought, my life philosophy instantly changed from this job would be great if it weren't for the customers to this job is great because of the customers. And I'm like, I need customers at my day job. But even going back to the Quick Stop, like over time, I realized that like all those people that would come in and annoy me by asking me to like sell them cigarettes or do my damn job, like paved the way for my future. Every time somebody came into that store, something wacky happened, and I'd be like, somebody should put this in a movie. I did.
Somebody is you, right?
And it changed my life, man. So it's, you know, I have a very complex relationship with that little convenience store. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get out of it. And now as an adult, I keep trying to get back to it. And Clerks 3 is very much that.
Right. So what were the reactions from some of the other actors that were in the originals when you asked them, I have an idea? How about Ben Affleck? Was he all in when you said, oh, I have a Clerks 3?
He's very sweet, man. And as much as, you know, his big request is like, how long is it going to take? He's like, that's perfect. Yeah. It's when you're putting it together, you know, you've got your main cast and people returning like Brian and Jeff and Jason and me. But then, you know, we had a place in the movie where we could litter it with a bunch of people, famous people we've known over the years, because in the movie, the boys make a version of Clerks. And at one point they're casting, so it allows us to pepper in like a bunch of famous people. But it was wild, man. Like we shot the movie last summer in Jersey, and I got to like have the greatest like non-midlife crisis ever. Most people like at midlife try to go back to what they did when they were kids, and we did like, and there were so many moments throughout the shoot where we'd be doing the exact same setups, the exact same shots that we had done nearly 30 years ago, in the same place with the same actors. It was meta. The snake didn't just eat its tail, it filleted itself.
Well, people are so excited. They have been clamoring to see this movie, such that I know you're doing a tour of movie screenings. You've had to add dates because so many people are just dying to come see it. We also heard you're making a special appearance.
Yeah, there's two ways to see Clerks 3. You can see it in a normal-ass movie theater from September 13th to September 18th. Any Fathom Events participating theater at nighttime. That's if you just want to go see it in a movie theater without me. Then I'm also on the convenience tour, where I take the movie from city to city and watch it with you. We do Q&A afterwards. Like in New Jersey, we do it September 4th, and at the Count Basie Theater. In New York, Manhattan, we do it September 9th at the Beacon Theater, which the last time I was at the Beacon Theater, I saw Carlin. That was the last time I saw
way.
Beacon. Yeah, so when they were going, like, we have venues, they were going through the list of venues, and in New York, they had a few venues, and once they said Beacon, I was like, we gotta go, man. That's where Curious George was last time I saw him.
Gosh.
You brought up you're a Jersey guy, right? You were born in Red Bank, raised in Atlantic Highlands, and I know you used to go to the movies. There's a little movie theater in the Atlantic Highlands that your dad would let you cut school and go to see these movies. I'm curious, first of all, who influenced you? And now I heard you bought that theater. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we did. The influence, I think, came from sitting next to my dad for years. He wasn't, you know, we weren't raised in a generation where parents tell their kids, you can do anything you want.
Right.
Like that was me as a parent, man. Like filling my kid full of lies. You can do whatever you want. just don't try to fly without a jetpack or things like that. But when we were kids, they were, you know, my father was the kind of guy who's like, see that mountain? Never climb it. You'll fall. Right. So they didn't encourage you to do big things. It's not like they squashed you down, but like, the idea of making movies, that was for other people a world away. But sitting next to my father every week, going to the movie theater, particularly like in that Atlantic Highlands movie theater, we just bought, me and my friends, and we're going to rename it Smodcastle Cinemas. Watching a movie with somebody, you learn a lot about who they are. And I was a kid, and I barely knew who my father was. He was just dad. And sitting next to him in the dark, watching him react to movies, watching him cry at movies, watching him laugh and discovering, that's funny? Why is it funny? And trying to figure out why. Watching him get emotional, grown-ass man who like never cried in front of his kids. I watched him break down during like Raging Bull of all movies and stuff. And I remember thinking like, you could do that? You're allowed? Like, as a man, I'm a man.
Wow.
I can cry at movies too. And I still, to this day, get overly emotional about the things I watch, whether it be movies, cartoons, or whatnot. It helps that I'm a middle-aged stoner, so everything makes me cry. I find it touching. But that appreciation for not so much like somebody going like, you could do this, but just showing me the joy of movies. Look, I loved movies too, but seeing them through my father's eyes, it was a different experience for me. It made them a little more essential in my life than just like, we go to the movies on the weekend. They were a little more important to me. Some kids like sports, but I really like movies. So now years later, me and my friends Ashley and Ernie and Jeff are buying the Atlantic Highlands. Well, now it's called the Atlantic Movie House. Mid-September, it becomes Smodcastle Cinemas, man. Multiplex, 5 screens. We have a podcast theater in Leonardo, right next to the Quick Stop, called Smodcastle. So this is it growing up into a 5-screen cinema. So
we're going to run, not walk.
It's the first event we're doing, September 8th. October 8th. We're doing Clerks open all night. So at midnight, we show Clerks.
We're going.
At 2 a.m., Clerks 2. At 4 a.m., Clerks 3. Then we have breakfast from Quick Stop
Oh.
at 6 in the morning.
And you're going to be there for the whole thing.
Perfect.
You're going to be there for the whole kit and caboodle.
Absolutely.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
Kevin
that's. I mean,
Smith,
look.
this
nobody
was a
wants to show
treat.
Thank you. Nobody wants to show my movies anymore, so I had to buy my own
Yeah, my
theater.
theater and projector and everything.
Listen, I'm here for all of it. Thank you so much
Kevin,
for
thanks so
sharing
much.
that wonderful tribute to your dad.
Absolutely.
That as a mother, now I know my children are watching me all the time.
It's all the time, all the time. Bring those kids to see Clerks 3 at the Beacon Theater September 9th.
They already served
You got
Clerks
it.
1, so we're on it. Thank
Kevin,
you so
you're-
much.
Stay well. Good luck, man.
Bye, kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that he calls us kids, too.
I love it
That
too.
makes me feel good.
Don't forget
Picks,
about
picks.
yes, Clerks 3 convenience tour heading to the Beacon Theater Tuesday, September 9th. There will be a live movie screening of Clerks 3 as well as a live Q&A from the one and only man himself. You can get tickets online at clerks3tour.com and then go over to New Jersey
Right.
the day before.
Yeah, it's not that far. Be
Yeah.
sure to